All right, so why don't you tell me what's on your mind? What's been going on?
Good. First, thank you for receiving me for this. Very appreciated.
No problem.
So we'll see. I'm not sure like what's the like how you want to set up that. It's if you have like a kind of specific order of things, but like
Whatever you need help with, whatever you get a challenge with, we're here for you
okay.
this hour.
So I wrote a couple challenges that I'm facing right now doing my game that I'm
Okay.
working. So I don't know. Maybe I should introduce myself first. I don't know if you know a bit about what I'm doing or
Yeah, it would
if.
help to know a little bit about you and what you're working on.
Okay, so the game I'm working on is called The Last Crystal. It's a game I've been working on for more than 1 year right now. It started as a school project, and then two of the members of the team wanted to continue it. So that's what I'm doing. And otherwise, what I do for a living, I'm a freelance game developer, so that's what I'm doing full time. I'm doing games for clients, and when I have time to work on my game, then I work on my game.
What kind of technology you use?
For the game, I'm using Unity,
Okay.
and also most of my projects are also in Unity, so I start to know it.
Do you like freelance programming in Unity, or is it like
Yes,
the whole game?
yes, I do freelance programming. I do also game design. I'm not an artist though, so for art, I try to surround me with other people that can do that. But yeah, basically, I try to assemble everything and build it in Unity and do
Cool.
the programming too. Okay, so yeah, I don't know if you saw a bit of my game. Did you play it, or I know I sent a link, but I don't know if you had time.
Uh, where did you send it? Was it in the Discord?
Yeah, it's in the Discord. So I sent you the link to the game like right before we set up the
Oh,
time.
right, right. Okay. No, I haven't played it yet.
Oh, it's okay. I can describe it a bit. Um, so is it better if I don't know if I can share my screen with that.
Yeah,
Maybe I
there's a
do
green button in the bottom middle. I'll
that.
share.
Yeah. So let's share screen. Okay. Screen.
I
Good.
can see your screen.
Yeah, I'm just trying to last crystal game. Okay, so what I'm working on is a co-op puzzle adventure game. So it's a game where basically you always have two characters. So no matter if you play one or two players, because all the levels are designed for two. But if you play alone, you can use the two joystick of the controller to control each character.
That's cool.
And then we're trying to make it a bit open. So I have this is one of the area that we will have in the game. So you can go a bit in any direction you want. Of course, you have like a main quest, but you have a lot of like crystal. Usually you need to solve a puzzle or face a challenge to get them. And so yeah, you're trying to collect stuff like that. You will get new powers, you get new weapons, and you find allies too that can help you. So yeah, this is my game. And so yeah, maybe we can go back here. Okay, so yeah, I wrote a couple challenges that maybe we can talk about. So first, uh, one of the things I'm trying to do right now is I'm trying to learn about game marketing and how to promote the game because it's really a field that I'm not like used to. I didn't really do anything related to that before. So I'm like exploring on social media. I made a website. Right now I'm trying to collect emails. So that would be one of my goal or challenge right now. Like I set a goal to collect 100 emails from my website. So I have like a subscribe form at the bottom. And but like right now we don't have a lot of people that subscribe. I think we have like three, four people that did it because I think people just don't reach this location. And the reason why we're doing that is because like it's just in order to be ready, for example, for a Kickstarter or release. I'm not sure yet if I will do a Kickstarter, but I'm considering it. But if I'm doing it, I think I need some kind of support first, like kind of people that are interested and already either gave us their email or they are on the Facebook page.
That's smart.
So that's one of the challenge I have. Otherwise, another challenge is trying to get valuable feedback. I do playtest often with friends, people around, but I feel like most of those feedback are like very positive most of the time, and I feel like it's just because people are trying to be nice.
Yeah, that
So
happens.
you probably don't understand what I mean. So it's a bit, I don't know, I find it hard to get like real feedback that I say, okay, there's really a problem there. I need to solve that. I can improve that because of the feedback I got.
Who were you contacting for feedback? Is it just friends and family?
Right now it's just friends and also a couple people on Discord channels. Yeah.
Like game developers?
Yeah. Yeah.
It might be worth checking out like actual puzzle game forums and stuff like that. Actual people that play games and stuff, reaching out
Yeah.
directly to players.
Do you have any good forums that you know that like are more for gamers than game devs?
Not specifically for puzzle games, but I mean, you spend an hour Google searching it and researching, I'm sure you can find a few.
Good. Okay.
Go directly to the target base. I would also, if there are YouTube channels or there are places that they hang out, Facebook groups, stuff like that, there are players that hang out there. You want to find players of your genre of game, not so much
Yeah.
developers and friends.
Yeah, I think it would be helpful to do that. It's just right now I'm not really sure where to reach those people, but yeah, I need to do more research about that.
Yeah, put yourself in the mindset of I want to play puzzle games. Where would I go? Right. So search around, search on Facebook, search on Twitter, search hashtags, search Google, search all these different forums and stuff. Look for maybe find a game similar to yours. The top 3 to 5 games similar to yours. Go to their forums, go to their message boards, go to their Steam page. You can find a lot
Yeah.
of stuff like that.
Yeah.
How are you collecting feedback? I'm curious.
Right now I have kind of Google form. So after people play it, I send them the link and then they fill that and I chat a bit with them too. This is when I do playtests online, but sometimes I do playtests during an event. So here in Vancouver, there's an event called Full Indie each month. So like we demo the game and people try it and then they tell us what they think. But again, I feel like people are trying to be very nice there. So
The best kind of feedback in my experience is not what people say. It's not asking people questions. It's literally just watching them play the game
yeah,
without interrupting them at all.
yeah, and trying to see like if they get stuck somewhere or if there's something they don't understand. Yeah.
It's a lot harder online to get people to record videos of like their playthrough, but that's what I do with Photophobia. And I actually tell them beforehand, like, if you're going to be a tester, this is what I need from you. I need you to record videos or playthrough.
Okay, so you record the playthrough while they play.
I make them record it, and if they can, their face as well. And that's how I gather the feedback, not so much
Nice.
asking forms and stuff. Because like there are little things that people get stuck on that they might even forget about, or they would never bring up, or if someone might say if they keep dying at a certain place and then they quit, that can tell you a lot more than them saying the game is frustrating, right? Like, it could be valuable.
Cool.
So let's pop back to, because you wanted to get 100 emails. How long have you been trying to collect emails?
It's very recent. There's maybe start doing that in the last month, but up to now it was just like a subscribe form at the bottom of my website.
Okay.
And usually I post my website like when I post something on Facebook, but there's nothing that ready right now to incite people to go there and put their email. What I'm trying to do right now is I'm saying like, if you want to join the closed beta, enter your email and we may select you for playtest and stuff like that. Right now, I'm not sure if I should like just open a demo to everyone. I don't know. I don't know if it's a good idea. Maybe you can tell me more about that. There's someone, because right now I was telling someone I was doing that, and then there's someone that was suggesting me to just like do a demo that everyone can download. They just put their email and then they get the demo. But I'm not sure if it's a good idea to just give a demo like that to everyone.
How big is the demo?
Um,
How many
well,
hours of gameplay?
I can make one that is shorter. Right now, I have one that it can be like 1 or 2 hours if you try to do all the things, but I can probably do one that's shorter than that.
Okay. Generally, email signups work better with an incentive. So rather than just say, put your email in, you can get access to the demo. I think a demo would work better than maybe you'll get access to closed beta. But it's going to depend on your game too. If your game has the sticking power to really like get people more excited and accelerate their excitement, it's a really good idea. If you're not quite sure it's there yet, it could actually have the opposite effect. So it's going to really depend on where you feel the game is, like in that stage. But the incentive will definitely accelerate subscribes if that's what you're looking for.
Okay, so do you think it's better to start with going for open demo like that, or should I try to find streamers that would play the game on YouTube and post video? You think that's
I would do because there's two parts to that, right? Like one is you need people when they're on your website to put their email in so you can follow up with them later. But the other part is how do you get people to the website, right? What are you doing currently to get people there? Just Facebook posts?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have any other way that work better, or
do you have any analytics installed on your website?
any what?
Analytics, like can you tell me how many people come to the website or how many people?
Yeah, I have Google Analytics. I don't look at it often though. I don't think it's a lot right now.
What's your like monthly page visits, page views, uniques, that kind of thing?
Wait, I have it in front of me here, but I'm not sure. Okay, I think it's right. So here I have 72. I don't know. I don't know for how long though.
Okay, so 72 people came to the website over the last month, 28
You
days.
think it's not? Wait, I don't see the time.
The time period is usually in the top right.
Here I have like last week, but
Set it to last month if you need to.
oh no, I have almost 300 in the last month.
Okay, so 300 people, and out of those, how many actually ended up subscribing?
Just two.
Two. So that's like 0.7% conversion, something like that. Usually, the way this works best is one, like what's your website?
Is lastcrystalgame.com.
Lastcrystalgame.com. All right, let me share screens with you.
Okay.
And I'll kind of walk you through some stuff that may help. All right, so first of all, this looks beautiful. The game looks fantastic.
Cool, thanks.
It looks, the colors are well defined. You got a logo going, looks good. But this is the most important part on your entire website, and it's kind of a waste of space because there's like nothing here.
I see.
Right? So what's the most important thing that you're actually trying to do? Well, you put the most important thing all the way at the bottom, right? Because this is your goal, this is your objective. This is the thing that should be way up top here. Matter of fact, I could go right here, right? I think that is the number one change that you probably need to make to this page because it looks beautiful. It's just that your goal is all the way at the bottom, and I have to scroll all the way down to get to it. This section in marketing is referred to as above the fold, and it's the idea that this is what you see without scrolling down. And a lot of people don't get past this part right here.
Okay.
A lot of people will literally go to your website, they'll look at this, and then they'll click off. That's what most people do. So the vast majority of those people are not even seeing this at all. So the first thing I would do is I would move that up here if you can, if you know how to.
Yeah. Yeah, I can do that. Right now I had the button in the corner, but I think maybe it's not big enough. So
Yeah. This
like
stuff.
at the bottom right, I have like the play the game button.
Yeah.
So yeah, there too.
You want, so here's the thing. So when you're dealing with web traffic, one of the things that you want to remember, especially cold web traffic, and cold web traffic just means that they don't know who you are, they've never seen you before. They don't know what the next step is. You have to kind of tell them what to do next, right? So that's why you see a lot of websites, they'll have something, they'll say, subscribe now, create an account, whatever. You have play the game, which is nice, but I think it should actually save them a step and save them a click and put it right here, right? So just download the demo or whatever right here. Because I also have this is my personal thing. I don't know if anybody in marketing ever talks about this, but I have a thing called a 3-click rule. And if anything takes them more than 3 clicks to get to, it's too far, it's too deep.
Okay.
Yeah, so I would minimize the amount of clicks. And it seems simple, but like it can drastically improve conversion. Another thing that I would do, if you're looking for signups, if you really want to get email signups, this will help dramatically, is I would create a separate page for this actual thing, for the demo. I would remove all of the top navigation, all of the Twitter links and everything, and only have the sign up, have like a screenshot that says this is the game, and then have their ability to download, enter their email to download the demo. I'll give you an example of this. This is how I get people on my email list for Game Dev Underground. So this is a page. There's nothing that you can do on this page. There's nothing that you can click on except for this button, right? That's the only thing.
Actually, I have a page that is a bit like that, but like that's more my old version, because before I didn't have a website with so much content. So you can try it if you just go in the link and you do /join.
/join.
You will have my old page. This is just like a video, but the trailer is old, so
okay. This is good. I would disable this link though, right here.
Okay.
I would put this above the fold up here.
Okay.
And then this is the page. So your website's fine, right? There's nothing wrong with your website. It's just that if your objective is to get emails, that's the main website is not as effective as this page will be. I can tell you that almost immediately.
Okay.
Because this is very singular in focus, right? This is the only thing you can do on a page. I'd remove these two. And I would only promote this when the objective is to get somebody to move to the next step. So, for example, if you post a Facebook post and you're like, hey, we're coming out with our beta soon or our demo, it's going to be awesome, you can sign up for the demo here. That would be when you would send this link, right? Because it's specifically for the demo. There's nothing else you could do. There's nothing else you can get lost in. Like right here, what happens a lot of time is like literally people go, oh, this is a cool page, and then they click on Facebook, and then they see cat pictures, and then they see their friend, and then they get notifications, and then they're off watching. Yeah. So and especially if you're working hard for that traffic, right? You don't want to just send it back to Facebook or Twitter or any of these places. So yeah, I would move this up, and I would make this more clear. So it should, like this is. So this is very clear what it is, but I would have like a headline that says, enter your email to get access to the demo, or get instant access to the demo, or something like that, or sign up for the beta. Something that's very clear. So when I glance at it, immediately I see, oh, join the beta button, right? And that's what I do. So I know what the next step is. I think that right there will dramatically improve your conversions, especially if you're getting 300 or so a month. you're probably getting most of that from sending the traffic there by themselves, like sending it from Facebook or whatever. Sending them to a link like this, I think would help. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have any questions on that?
No, I think it makes sense.
Okay. That's the basics of marketing. I think you can improve. I think you could get your 100 emails. Let's see, let's do some math. I think that page would probably convert at closer to 10 or 20%.
Okay.
Versus the 0.7% that you have now. So
Cool.
at 300 people a month, if you do that, I think you could, in 2 months, you could probably have your 100.
Cool. I will try that.
Do you have a date for launch date or for Kickstarter or anything like that?
No, I don't have a date right now for the launch.
Okay. Do you have any kind of ballpark of like much longer the game's going to take you?
Sorry, what?
Do you have a ballpark figure of like how much longer the game's going to take you?
I would say about a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So trying to get 100 emails, we talked about that. More engagement on social media, not just followers. What do you mean by that?
By what?
One of the things you sent me was have more engagement on social media, not just followers.
Yeah. So right now we have like a couple people that like the page, but we don't get a lot of comments on the post that we do.
Post where?
On Facebook, for example. And Twitter, we have even less, but Twitter, we started a bit later, so it's more normal. And we experimented with Facebook promotion. Sometimes, like, we had a lot of weird results. Like, maybe I'm just not used to Facebook and things like that, but I mean Facebook promotions. But like, I think there's a time we put like $5 to promote the page or $10, and then we got a lot of likes, but they all comes from like India or the Philippines. And like I was thinking, is it fake? Is it true people, or it's just like, I don't know, like bots that like the page?
How did you run it? Did you do the boost your post thing?
Yeah, it's a boost post, yeah. And no, for that one it was a boost, not a post but a page. So you can also boost the page, and it just showed a page with the like button. So that's what we did.
And your results were that like there were a lot of people in different countries and stuff.
Yeah, there was much more people than we expected like the page. That's how we got like right now we have around 2,000 people that like the page.
How many times did you do that?
Oh, we did that just a few times for the page, maybe two or three times for the page. Otherwise, we did the boost on post, but boost on post, people will like the post, but they don't join the page.
How long has the Facebook page been running?
It's been a while, maybe more than a year, but like we didn't start boosting back then. It was just there like for posting picture at first and stuff like that.
And how much of the 2,000 do you think came from the actual boosted posts?
I think a lot came from there, maybe like 80%.
From like 3 posts, you got more than half of the people there?
Yeah, we boosted the page like 2 or 3 times. So maybe we put like $20 or $30 in total just for the boost page. We put more for like other posts, but yeah, most of them came from that. And maybe I can check the stat because it's been a while from that. But since we stopped boosting the page itself, and it stayed like around 2,000. I don't know if I can see, maybe inside. Promotion. I tried to go see the old promotion we did. Page promotion here. Yeah, so we did one. Okay, so we did one $15 and we got 800 page likes. And then another one was $10, and then we got 550. So that's like 1,300, something like that.
Okay. So did you set it to like, did it ask you what you wanted the most, like likes or engagement or whatever? Or did you just hit
No,
it?
I just boosted that page. I
Okay.
didn't.
Boosted posts they're not the most effective form of marketing in my experience.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Facebook ads has something very similar. Like if you actually go into Facebook ads, it's separate from the boosted post thing, but you can actually target who you want to see the ad. Whereas boosted post kind of does it on a smart algorithm depending on what your objective is. Most of the time it's likes. So they were successful, right? They got you what you wanted, this is the likes, but they probably weren't targeted, focused people that are gonna like buy your game, right?
Mm-hmm. Well,
Um,
we still set the audience like we put interest, and then we put video games and co-op games and things like that. So,
so what's like if you post something right now, what's the average amount of likes and comments you get?
you mean if we boost it or no?
No, if you just post it.
Um, I don't know, not a lot. Maybe 5, 10.
5 likes, 5, 10 likes.
Mm-hmm. And then like there's a post we boosted recently. It's like a new concept art that we did. That one got a lot of likes, but we boosted and a lot of share and comments too. That's I think it's the one that got the most. Like the last one we posted. Maybe I can send you the link. You will see. I'll send you here.
Actually, I don't have a Facebook account, so I don't know if we'll let it.
Oh, okay.
I could try.
Okay. So yeah,
Yeah.
that posted well. So that one got the one we boosted got like 2,000 likes, but if we don't boost it, maybe there's like 5 or 7, things like that. It depends what is the post too, because usually we post the best, we boost the best post, so it's a bit biased.
Well, that's good. I think I do that a lot on my channel. Whatever videos do the best, I'll share an email. Like you kind of use it as a filter, which is nice. One thing I would try though, for you specifically, is I would try to tie the money that you spend directly to results that matter. And if you look at the ratio to how many likes you have on the page and how many people actually like each post, you can probably even go into the analytics and see how many people actually see each post. And it's probably a very tiny number, a small percentage of the people. So as far as like dollar per subscriber, for example, which once you have somebody's email address, you can reach out to them for this game, but also future games. You know, you can constantly keep them up to date. You can do everything. So I think subscribers are probably worth a lot more in marketing terms than likes on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
So the next time you boost a post, I would just pay attention and maybe try and target it directly to your landing page and try and get subscribers and just say, okay, for $5 that I spent, I got X amount of subscribers, and see if that makes sense mathematically. I just don't want you to be spinning your wheels, because a lot of times, like, Facebook is completely in control over who sees your posts, right? Organically. So you're paying to get likes on your page, and then you get likes on your page, but then they're still in control of who sees your posts. Right? I mean, so it's not all 2,000 people see your posts. So that can kind of be a gray area. Like sometimes it's worth it, sometimes it's not. Most of the time, in my experience, especially in the last couple of years, it hasn't been worth it for me.
Okay, so what do you use usually?
For what?
For
subscribers?
Marketing, yeah, and subscribers, and like if you don't like Facebook that much.
Well, my primary avenue is YouTube. That's my driving force. And if you notice in the description of every single one of my videos, there's a link to the page I just showed you. Every single one. And so I post videos every day. There's a little link in the description that takes me to the landing page. The landing page sends it to the email. sign up, and then email sign up takes care of all of the other stuff that I do, whether it's the Patreon stuff, the selling my game, or whatever else I'm trying to market goes all in the email.
Cool.
I would also figure out if, again, I mentioned forums and stuff. That's a really good way to, like, if you post on a puzzle forum and you say, hey guys, I notice you like puzzles, I'm working on a puzzle game, could really use some feedback. If you want the demo, here's the link. You know, you could do stuff like that as well. You just have to pay attention. Different communities are a little more susceptible to that stuff than others.
Yeah, sometimes it can be seen as spam. Or...
Yeah, generally, like, the best approach is to actually become part of those communities. Actually go pick 5 or 10 forums, start joining, start adding value to people, and do that way before you actually ask for value from people.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yeah, sure.
Do you have any questions on any of that?
I think I'm good. Yeah.
All right. Anything else you're struggling with? Anything else you want to bring up?
Yeah, I guess related to that, maybe sometimes is about trying to get focus, because I always feel like there's so many things to do. For example, we just talked about like being part of community and going like on forums, on puzzle forums and things like that. But like, I feel there's so many things to do. So like, where do I start? I also need to work like on my game. I also need to like do my freelance on the side. So
I could see it in your face when I was talking.
yeah,
I was watching you. You're just like, so much shit to do. So what's the question? What are you asking?
Maybe the question is just how can I prioritize? Like, how can I find what's the most effective, maybe, or where to put my energy?
Okay. So where to put your energy as far as like marketing goes, or like overall?
Overall.
Okay. Generally, like, and this comes from like the startup world when I was working with startups and stuff. Startups usually have things called KPIs, which are key performance indicators. And they pick a set of numbers that actually make sense for their business. So for example, a KPI might be sales, it might be a conversion rate, it might be something that they think is important, but it has to be a number that's trackable, like,
Okay.
no matter what. So for example, with your marketing, your KPI might be email subscribers, right? Like, you can think about Twitter followers, you can think about Facebook likes and all that, but at the end of the day, those don't convert to sales, right? Like, a subscriber is something you own. It's not affected by algorithms. It's not affected by whatever Facebook feels like at the day. It's not affected by any of that stuff. You can always contact that person no matter what. So that can be a KPI for marketing, for example. And every time you do marketing, try and think about, okay, what process can I do to get the most amount of qualified people to this email list, right? And stop doing everything else. That's the trick. Is like, don't try and do everything. Don't try and do Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and Instagram and all the stuff. Try and find the most effective method for you to move that KPI number up. Right?
Okay.
For like everyday life, it gets a little more complicated. Working on your game, a game is a really big project. Like, how do you manage that? You have to kind of balance life and dev and all that. I run a freelance business myself too. That's kind of how I do things, how I pay the bills. And the way for me that I always do it is I will separate things into weekly goals and then daily goals and monthly goals. So I generally do 3 goals a day, 3 goals a week, 3 goals a month. And they're bigger and bigger and bigger depending on what they're getting. The monthly goals are usually bigger milestones. Like, for example, I have to get the 50 levels complete for my game, right? For the first half of the game or whatever. It has to be trackable, because if it's not trackable, if it's like finish the engine or something like that, you can work on that forever and still not finish the engine, right? So I would make it trackable, use numbers when you can. But generally, the 3-3-3 system tends to work for me to kind of help balance things. And I don't give priority to any one thing. I'll prioritize client work sometimes if like there's a date upcoming, but generally the 3-3-3 system can kind of get me through any deadlines or stuff that we have.
Cool.
Any questions on that?
No, it's clear.
Do you have a system that you use currently?
No, not really.
You just kind of do whatever needs to be done at the moment?
Yeah. I just try to think what's the most important right now. So that's what I do.
It seems like you've gotten you far, though. You've got a good-looking game. You got a webpage and all that.
Yeah, it's moving forward. As long as it's moving forward, I'm good with that.
There's no perfect system, dude. So
yeah,
whatever works for you.
yeah. I guess everyone has their own way to do things too.
Yeah. I will say the 3-3-3 system for me, it's not so much about the daily goals, but it's about keeping 3 different perspectives, like what needs to be done today, what needs to be done this week, and what needs to be done this month. And then I kind of work backwards because if I know what needs to be done this month, I can kind of figure out, okay, then I got 4 weeks to do that. And then I also know what needs to be done each day because I have to get that thing done in a week. So working backwards kind of helps me a little bit.
Good.
Is that helpful?
Yeah, very helpful.
Anything else you want to throw out there?
Let me check here. I have a couple other challenge. Yeah, another thing we were trying to figure out recently, this is less like business and less marketing side, is more really related to the game dev. Because what we're trying right now is we're using a perspective that not a lot of 2D game use for that art style. And like there's a few people like around that said that the walls look flat, and like we were trying to find a way to make it maybe look less flat, but we don't really have a solution because we could just do a kind of like it's a bit hard to explain, but if you look at the other asset in my game, like for example the rocks, things like that are like a bit elevated, so they feel a bit more like they are part of the perspective. But the walls, since we want to be able to create like not maze but paths that can go a bit everywhere, the vertical walls we cannot really put them like in a 3D perspective without going 3D, and we don't really want to go 3D. Okay. So I don't know if it's clear.
Is this game, is it completely 2D?
Yes, it's completely 2D.
Really? Because it does kind of look 3D.
Yeah, but it's just because of like the camera perspective, and all the floor is a bit like, yeah, the floor goes a bit like in the background. It has the perspective, and then we have some objects that are put a bit like, so if you have the floor like that, we have the object that go up like that, so it gives a kind of idea that it's 3D, but it's all 2D assets, and we haven't found a way to do that trick for the walls because they go a bit like in any direction, so it's a bit complicated. But maybe it's fine like that to have that kind of double style. So right now I'm a bit split between, is it worth it to fix that because a few people told us that it looks weird, or
well, weird is not always bad. Let me just, to clarify, you mean these walls specifically?
Yes.
So they do look kind of flat. They don't look like walls.
Mm-hmm.
And you're asking how to make it like more clear to the player?
Yes, because we could just use 3D models,
right.
But it would destroy a bit the style because like we have to start playing with lighting and all that, and
right. That's okay. So I don't think that looks bad. At first glance, it does kind of look confusing. Like I wouldn't necessarily know that those are walls.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way you could add a little bit of like just darker shades, like right around here in this perspective.
Yeah, that's
That
a
would
thing
just
we thought of. But then we could, if we do that, we like can just do it on one side, right? Because on the
right.
side, like depending of the perspective you are, it will look weird.
Can you move the perspective
What do you mean?
in the game? Can you actually turn the camera?
No, you can't.
So it's locked.
Yeah, it's locked.
So would it work to have a little bit of darker area, like just in this perspective on something like this, like a little raised platform?
Yeah,
These
but
come
then
raised.
yeah, that is just that like it would be just one side and not the two sides. Like, it would just be at the front and not on the two sides, unless we have, or maybe we can use a kind of like maybe we can check every object if it's on the left side or the right side of the camera, and then we show the right, but it would just like pop out. So maybe it would be weird.
I mean, if I think, let me look at, because I think there are ways to like trick perspectives that aren't necessarily accurate. Like this is top down and side view, right? Like,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
you
that
don't necessarily have to be the real like perspective. You can just kind of fake stuff, and it can still come out looking good. I don't necessarily think there's anything wrong with what you guys have. I would have to play the game to see, but just at first glance, I didn't know those were walls. But if I like couldn't go through them, I'd probably get that over time. It wouldn't take me long.
yeah. Yeah, people get it when they play. They don't get confused by it. It's more like an aesthetic thing, but maybe it's not as important as we think.
Yeah, I mean, if it comes up a couple times, it's definitely worth looking into. But that's one of the reasons why watching people play the game is so important, because if they're not getting confused at it and they're just going on playing the game,
Yeah, this is more like feedback that people give us, but it's not feedback that we observe in the game.
yeah, then I wouldn't think it's that big of a deal. But I mean, visually, if you want to correct that, there are a couple of different things you could do. I like the look of the game. I think it looks really unique like that.
Cool. Yeah, there's not a lot of 2D game with that kind of perspective. There's like I think the one we compare the most right now, just for the angle, is Don't Starve.
Yeah,
But Don't Starve, they don't have walls. That like you can build walls, but like the moment you start to have a lot, it looks very ugly. If you look like a Don't Starve video, when you that people that made the maze, for example, it kind of look ugly because it's not like a straight wall. It's like a lot of objects like that.
yeah,
And the reason why they did that is because of their perspective. Like if the vertical wall is not really a way to just you cannot just like put it up like that because it will look weird.
yeah. I think at the end of the day, it's not about being the most realistic. It's about being
Yeah,
delivering the information to the player. And I think your game does that pretty well.
good. Okay. And yeah, another goal that I want to do soon. I think first we will make a new trailer because the trailer is a bit old and it's not really helping right now. But after we get the trailer, I want, if possible, to get a couple streamers to play the game on YouTube. I'm not too much familiar with that, like how to approach people who are the people that streams indie games of that genre. So maybe I need to do a bit of research. I don't know if you have some kind of generic advice related to that. Like,
Yeah, that's a lot of busy work. Marketing is a lot more boring than game development in that regard. It's a lot of Googling. What I would do is I would find the top 3 to 5 games that are similar to yours, and I would search for every place, every magazine, every blog, every YouTuber that covered that game, and I would reach directly out to those people.
mm-hmm.
And I would start with the smallest ones and then move up to the bigger ones. And then, because the smaller ones will usually cover you, there's a higher chance of them covering you. Then, because the first thing most people do when they see your game is they Google it. When the medium ones Google you, they'll see a bunch of other coverage. They'll cover you, and then you contact the big ones like IGN and all the different places and stuff that cover your game.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll Google you, they'll see a bunch of stuff, and you can use as an example. But yeah, the best way is to just start with all of the people that have covered previous games.
Okay. So you start small and you try to.
It's going to be a couple days of spreadsheet work, just going through all the stuff and finding all the different places.
Also, you say find similar games, but I found that there's not a lot of games that are doing what we are doing. If you take like all the aspects, if you take just a few aspects, like maybe there's more, but right now it's a co-op puzzle adventure game and it's top-down 2D. And I was trying to find like other games that fit all these criteria, and I don't think I found a lot. Like the closest I found is the old Zelda Four Swords. But I think this game you cannot even play it on PC anymore without an emulator. Like, I mean, that game is just for the old Nintendo Game Boy, I think, something like that.
So I would, if you're having trouble coming up with different games, one, I would just spend a couple hours just going through Steam, checking out tags, going through puzzle, going through co-op, going through all these different games. But two, I would, if you're going to join some of these forums and message boards and stuff, and you're actually working with people, I would ask people like, hey, what other game is this similar to? What other game you played like this? What does this game remind you of? Stuff like that. Like it's weird. Like sometimes the games that people bring up are not direct like genre matches or anything like that. Like my game Philophobia, people say all the time reminds them of like Limbo. It reminds them of like a bunch of different games that really are not. Thomas Was Alone used to come up a lot too, and like I get why they would say that, but those games are really nothing like my game. But they're similar enough to where I think it appeals to the same audience, right? So it's worth just kind of exploring what people say, because it doesn't necessarily matter if it's accurate or it's 100% true or it's true to the genre or whatever. But if it's similar enough to where people played it and they also played these other games, it's probably worth investigating.
I think another game that is quite similar would be The Cave. I don't know if you know The Cave.
The Cave, no. Sounds familiar though.
It's like a puzzle game with many characters. But again, like this game is also like a platformer, side scroller, so it's not top down. And The Cave is also, I think, more linear. So like every time I find a similar game, I think there's a lot of differences, but at the same time, maybe it's a good thing. So.
Yeah, the main thing you're looking for is audience overlap, not so much the actual like similarities to your game.
Yeah, that's true. Audience maybe is just a bit harder for me to like find which one is the right one. Like it's a bit harder to categorize.
Right.
I mean, I don't know a lot about that, so I don't know. Like, I'm not sure I know what kind of audience specifically, how to describe it. The audience that will play my game, I'm not sure how to describe
it. Again, the best way that I've found is to just ask people that have played it. Like, if you're giving a feedback form for people to fill out after you give them the game, what 3 words would you use to describe this game? Like, what would you say to a friend? What would you tell them? How would you explain this?
So how do you define an audience usually in words? Do you just say like people that like puzzle and adventure games, or you have, or there's like tricks to define more specific?
It can be as broad or as general as you want it to be. Like, I know, for example, on Facebook, I could run an ad for people between the ages of 24 to 50 that make an income of X, that are male or female, that own a dog or whatever. You know, like I could get.
Yeah, but that kind of thing, like owning a dog.
No. But so I think it's a lot more general than that, especially when it comes to a game like yours. Like, for example, I'm not big on puzzle games, but I'm big on co-op games. This seems like something I would play with my girlfriend, right? Like I would totally like co-op, sit down and play it. So I may not be a general fan of puzzle games in general, but I may be a co-op fan. And you think of it like a Venn diagram, right? There's a bunch of overlaps of things. And especially if you have multiple genres, like if you're having co-op, adventure, puzzle, you have a lot of overlap, and you can actually go to all three of those places to find people. The best way that this works, honestly, and I wish I could tell you a better secret than this, but the best way that I've found in marketing to get something to work is trial and error. Just the shotgun approach. Try a bunch of shit, see what works, and then really double down on whatever works, right? That's what I did with YouTube. I had tried Facebook, I had tried Twitter, I tried a bunch of stuff to work for Game Dev Underground first. YouTube started working, and I just doubled down on it, quit everything else.
Yeah, I think that's what we're doing right now. It's just that sometimes it can help to have a few shortcuts so you don't try too much.
Yeah, it helps to have a KPI too, because if you don't know what the actual end goal is, right, you can kind of be shooting in the dark. But if you know, for example, that you want to increase your subscribers, then you can judge every single one of these channels by how many subscribers it brings you. And it's an actual number where you can rank them, right? I would definitely use the service too, by the way, like Bitly or something to track links. And if you're going to share your landing page, for example, I would make multiple different links so that you can share them on Twitter, share them on Facebook, share them, and see how many clicks each one gets.
So what's the name of the?
bit.ly. bit.ly.
Oh, I didn't know you could track links with that. I thought it was just like to make it
yeah, so if you create an account, you can actually add a bunch of links there, and you can have a bunch of links for the same link and just put them in different places, and you can see which one does better.
Cool.
You can also look at Google Analytics, by the way. If you look at incoming traffic and you look at traffic sources, it'll tell you where people are coming from.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we notice sometimes that there's some countries, like if we look at Facebook, there's some countries that there's much more people that engage with the post or the page. And I was kind of surprised by that because I thought it would be like more evenly distributed from country to country because like, I don't know, I don't see why it would matter. It's more about interest in my mind. But I was surprised by that, so I don't know how to explain that.
And you don't have any sales data. So you don't know which countries or which age groups or any of that actually converts to sales. You find that out when you actually launch your game. Yeah. And when the second time around, you'll be a lot more equipped to do this better. But like at first, you're just aiming for subscribers. The country doesn't really matter. Some countries convert better than other countries for different stuff. But generally, like you don't know. So, I mean, limiting by countries or trying to get an even distribution doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, makes sense.
Is there anything else that you wanted to throw out there? Anything else in your mind?
I think we've been through it. Yeah, I was wondering also about when is the right time to do press release? Maybe you're familiar with that. Like, do people do that like just a few months before the release, or is it like possible to do it before? If we do a Kickstarter, should we do some kind like is it worth it to contact press for a Kickstarter, or because it's not the real release, they will just ignore it? I don't know.
It's really going to depend project by project. Generally, I mean, I would do a press release because press releases are really easy to do. They're like one page, really easy to write. Like you got to get the format right and all that stuff. But once you learn it, it's not that complicated. I would do it every time there's a newsworthy story. So
okay.
It could be every couple of weeks, it could be every couple of months or whatever. Anytime you have something new to talk about. And I would try and tie it to current events. I would try and tie it to things that are happening. Like, I don't know if you know, my game Photophobia is tied heavily to love and that whole thing. Valentine's Day is the launch date. That press release is going to be around there.
Mm.
Any kind of event or holiday or anything like that that ties in with the game is going to help it get more traction, right? Because it's like it's relevant to the media, and they're looking for stories like that.
Okay, so people send email more regularly. I don't know. In my mind, like press release was more something for the release of the game that happens like kind of just one time. But what you're saying is that usually people send to press. They can send an email to press
Okay,
for
so
events.
so a press release doesn't necessarily mean that you would contact press directly.
Okay.
A press release, you can submit it to a lot of different sites that will aggregate it out, and there's a lot of news outlets and stuff that will just read through a bunch of press releases on these different aggregators or different sites, and they may or may not pick up your game.
So what kind of website is like website for games articles that?
Games Press is let me see. I have a few of them I can probably send you a link for. Gamespress.com is one of them. It's just a constant aggregated list of press releases.
So anyone can write there?
Yeah, anybody can write. You have to create an account. They have to approve you, I think, but it's pretty easy to get done.
Okay.
And then you can put that stuff out fairly often, but I would definitely, like, for at launch or something like that, reach out manually to all of the press people and send them the link and stuff like that.
Okay.
I wouldn't necessarily do that over and over again for every little piece that you send out, but I think it's worth mentioning at least, because another thing this does too, even if no press outlets pick it up, Google picks it up. And so when people Google your game, they see a bunch of stuff and links and stuff like that.
Yeah, because right now my SEO is terrible. So
yeah, there you go. And if it aggregates to 1,000 sites, that's 1,000 incoming links that can bump up your SEO as well.
Okay.
It helps with that.
Okay, so there's a lot of websites you're saying that we can just go and post ourselves. But what about like websites that they have their own writers and we need to contact them, I guess, in some way, so that if they want to be interested into writing something about our game.
Right. So I would think about newsworthy events. So one of the best ways to actually get covered is to show up at physical events, like locations, PAX, GDC, that kind of thing, because those writers are actually walking around the floor, and you can stop them and talk to them. They can play your game right there, no pressure, and you can get written, and you can meet them, interact with them. You know what I mean? And it's a lot easier to get press just right there, just boom. But the way that I've done it in the past is actually, like I said, pick a couple of games that are similar to yours. Find every outlet that's covered them. Go to the articles, look at the author, find the author on Twitter, and then message them directly on Twitter or get their email from some service. A lot of times you could just Google author name, email, and you can find it.
I see.
So you're being targeted about it, right? Rather than just send 10,000 or download one of these spreadsheets from the internet or whatever. You know, you're being very targeted about people that are very interested in your game, and you can be a little more personal and say, hey, Andrew, I noticed that you covered this game. My game is similar to that game, and I thought you might like it. You know, that makes them more likely to actually listen to you, not just saying, play my game, play my game, play my game. You know, give me some shit for free.
I see.
And then Twitter is a good little hack too. If they don't respond to email, you can't find the email, messaging them on Twitter can usually get a response.
Great. Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
Does that help?
Yes. Yes, thank you.
So I'm curious, dude. I gotta run. I gotta go. But out of everything we talked about, what do you think was the most useful for you?
I think that last thing was very useful when you're talking about like how to reach people, find the author, and all that. And also all the advice you gave about collecting emails. I think that was useful too. For like all the advice you mentioned about my website, how to set up. and how to target appropriately with the right links.
Cool. Anything else you want to throw out there or ask before we get on?
No, I think we're good.
Cool.
Thanks a lot for your help.
No problem. I appreciate you doing it.
Yeah.
All right. I'll see you later, dude.
Yeah, bye. Thanks.